Welcome to Your Healing Era, a podcast for artists, creatives, healers, anyone living outside the traditional mold who's searching beyond the conventional forms of healing. Don't forget to subscribe, follow, and rate the podcast. Thanks for being here, and let's dive into today's episode. I want to welcome Nicole, who is, aside from being a magical being and my friend, is a body worker. To be more specific, she does massage therapy, craniosacral therapy, yoga, herbalism. She specializes in nervous system regulation, womb wellness, body acceptance, relational and sexual empowerment, and so much more. And we know each other because we spent 2 really intensive years together studying biodynamic craniosacral therapy. I know that's a mouthful for people who never heard the term craniosacral therapy, but that's what we studied together for 2 years. And we connected over many topics and had really deep, profound healing experiences together. And ever since we graduated, I've seen Nicole offer all these classes and workshops and sessions. And if I was in your area, I would go to all of them, but I'm not, unfortunately. So I did get to attend one of the online things that you offered. That was fantastic. But anyway, I'm just really happy to have you here. So thanks for agreeing to chat and be on my podcast.
It's so great to be here with you, Noga. Thanks for the invite.
Yay. So before I jump into any deep questions, is there anything that's really alive for you these days, something that you're working on that you want to tell us about, or is that too wide of a question?
Well, I think the most relevant this week in my work with myself and my work with my clients is around fear and our relationship with fear in the body, and continually noticing how that is present for many of us, and then how we can best support ourselves to recognizing when we're actually in a safe space, and kind of supporting the body to slowly take its time, or to return to remembering its being naturally supported in that moment. So that's really alive for me right now. It's something that I'm noticing a lot in people. I don't know why this week specifically it's really come up, and I wonder if it is a seasonal aspect, because where I live in New Hampshire here, it's definitely turned quite the corner with welcoming in autumn, and I feel like that swift shift in that more airy element of a season can bring those anxieties up for people, and I know for myself. And so that's kind of where I've been drawn recently. And I know it's so easy to talk about seasons and talk about weather, but I think that it does have such a profound impact on our bodies and our psyches, and I'm seeing it in friends and clients and in myself.
Yeah, I love that you're bringing that up, because it's definitely been present for me too recently. Just noticing certain fears, noticing when they're more in the background, noticing when they're more in the forefront, and just the relationship I have with it. So I love that you're bringing that up. Not grounding it in the body, but like feeling it in the body, because a lot of times the fears are in what we call the head, or, in the thinking mind. Like I have a thought, I'm like, oh, I'm afraid of this. I'm afraid of what would happen if this, and that. And oftentimes that is actually creates a deeper disconnection from the body. Like my initial instinct is not to be like, oh, but where is it in my body? Or, it's more a thought process kind of a thing. But you're a body worker, and you're saying this comes up for people.
Yeah, and to feel that kind, can show up in so many ways. But, some people are really open and honest and share that they've been, working through anxiety or just general stress, and then to receive touch and feel how somebody's systems and body are also holding that story. But even if they don't speak on it, how the body can show that story. And so that's why for me, when the mind is going in a certain way, to work with the body can be supportive, even if it takes the mind like a while to come into that resonance with the body. But if the body can slowly start to feel little inklings of safety and like a holding, then the mind can slowly start to have a new place to orient to. And yeah, but it is such a practice, and it's like an ongoing for, I think, most of us that are on that path of, gaining awareness, especially with the mind and body connection, and that they're really one and the same. Yeah.
Right. And you mentioned safety, which it often surprises me, the things that actually bring more safety. When you say safety, people think about, your roof is not falling over your head, or no one's actively attacking you, or people use the word safe space. This is a safe space. Does it, is it really? Like, it's my body. Does my system actually feel safe, So.
Yeah, I wish we had more words, and maybe we need to find them, because I know that safety, it just brings up such a picture, especially like in our day and age, and like what we know is going on in the world, that like we might need to find new words for what's going on with our experiences in our body when we're not actually being threatened in that moment, but our body might be in a state of just being in the unknown. And that's something I've been exploring this week, is like, what if these fears are the body not knowing what is going to be? And so that unknown feels really scary, because in the past that unknown has come, to a place that perhaps there was actually danger. Sorry, I guess we're going right into some of these big pieces, but I think it is just so present. It's kind of sometimes the elephant in the room as well, and to be able to bring voice to it.
No, I absolutely love that. That connects to me so much right now. Actually, yesterday I had this thought. I'm in Boston right now for a couple of weeks, and I haven't been here many years. And I actually was here when I went to school. That was like the first time I moved to the U.S. I lived here in Boston for 2 years, and I was a different person. This was like 15 years ago. So I'm having this whole, like, without going too much into depth into this, but just having this whole experience of like, wow, I'm in such a different state of mind right now. I'm such a different person right now. I'm experiencing these streets differently because I was really young and I was going through whatever I was going through at the time. The reason I'm telling you all of this is because the thought that came to me yesterday about this was, I was so in survival that everything unknown was scary to me, and I would hold on to what I know. Like this, I know this street and I know this restaurant, and I was scared to maybe explore the city the way I can now, or I was afraid of getting to know more possibilities because it was all unknown. It was just so much unknown, and the unknown is the scary part. And the more that I don't know what it is that we do that lets us handle the unknown, but that's the way that it actually opens up more possibilities for good things to unfold. I really thought about, the unknown, like when we're afraid, it's because there's so much unknown, and when we trust or we find some kind of trust in the unknown, and then we actually get to venture and explore it and go in paths that, or discover things that we wouldn't otherwise.
That sounds like play too. That's kind of where it can become playful, which is like perhaps the other side. Beyond fear isn't just safety, but it's playfulness as well. And like that to really be curious, I do think we have to be, have some level of feeling okay to even want to venture and to explore.
Right. Yeah. Possibilities is like, it's like as terrifying as it is exciting, I find. Like the unknown, because it's really, it could be anything, and anything could be the best and the worst. So it's like a kind of I don't know, is it trust? Is it like, what is it that we need? to venture in.
Yeah, I think that is a lot where I've personally been exploring this week is like, okay, what is actually needed here to shift, to make those shifts. And I really feel like it's a daily practice of checking in and partnering with myself and with my body to listen and make the shifts in my consciousness to support that. And then, with clients as well, I think, there is such a wisdom that people have around their natural protection or around these limits of not wanting to explore to certain depth. I really respect that. And I think you probably really understand that from our cranial sacral training is like when somebody's going through an experience, it's going to be very different than how we're perceiving it. Maybe as a practitioner, we might be experiencing all of this depth and like this maybe inner child work that's going on, or ancestral components, or even just like have space in us at points maybe to go to those places. And the client might be, oh yeah, I'm feeling very relaxed right now, or oh yeah, I'm just like having a hard time not fidgeting, right? And so they might not vocally explore those spaces, and who knows if they're there, but I always try to come back to that space of respecting where each of us are at in our journey with that depth, really, because it's not always the right time and place to go to that right. Depth, and I actually have been trying to respect that in myself as well, where it's like, I don't need to always be plummeting into the shadows to look at those fears. Sometimes it's very simply just like, okay, I recognize you, and like, it's okay to like turn to a comfort to like soothe that. And how can I choose a healthy comfort, And so maybe that is like, yes, faith is important in all of these practices and things, but how can I honestly support myself with comfort that actually provides like nourishment?
Yeah. So 2 things from what you said. One, you started talking about checking in daily with yourself. Can you get a little more specific for people who maybe don't have a practice of checking in, or people who would like to know about how to get in touch with themselves deeper?
Yeah, it does start for me as soon as my alarm goes off.
Hey, I'm gonna pause for just a minute because I really gotta tell you about this. If you're feeling called to go deeper on this work, and if you're a woman who loves making music or exploring sound, writing songs, and expressing yourself creatively, I'm leading a retreat in Mexico this summer. It's an intimate, immersive week of embodied healing and creative expansion. We'll have a professional recording studio on site. We'll be writing, producing, dancing, practicing yoga, meditating, swimming in the ocean, all the things. So really living inside our bodies and inside our art. If this is calling you, all the details are below. We have limited spots and we have early bird pricing, so go check it out. And if Mexico isn't happening for you right now, I also have a free nervous system regulation tool that you can explore at home in your own time. And if you're ready for something more structured, my full nervous system sorcery course is also available. Everything is linked below. All right, let's get back to the episode.
Because that's actually can be the most challenging part of the day for me is that morning space. And so I am grateful that I have that ability to take those moments. So what that looks like is to just simply ask myself, like, what is present for me right now? Or just really notice. I don't even ask. I just say, like, what emotion is present, or where's my mind? Am I tired? Am I groggy? Am I very alert? So I just notice, and I try to take a deep breath. Like really take the biggest breath I can and try to connect with gratitude for me in the morning, because it can feel challenging.
Wow.
So that is that is the practice, and then it continues from there to when I make my tea. That's I like to have like a reflective tea moment where I'm just checking in. And for me, what that looks like, and I think it's specific to me, because why I say that is I think it could look different for everyone, but for me, I try to see how like open I am, like, and it could be very physical, like if I'm feeling like my shoulders are rolled in and I'm feeling curled in, but it's also could be psychological. If I'm feeling very drawn in, how can I relax into my seat and feel the support that's here for me? And then also, can I invite myself in to feel the support of like the day ahead, like what is there for me? So that's the practice of noticing how open I am to life in the morning and open to connection. And not to say that that inward space is wrong or bad, because sometimes I will honor that and say, oh, it's a day where maybe I limit interactions, because there might actually be some fruitfulness in that solitude, and I honor that as well. So I think it's the morning practice as well, and then of course the day goes, and there could be moments of checking in, and that can look in all different ways. But then it's also quite nice to do a similar practice before bed. And more so for me, it's a practice of checking in of energies that I, like, oh, okay, how did I feel this morning? How do I feel now this evening? Did I pick up anything that kind of, I would say, isn't mine, and just to like bring awareness to, it's like, wow, my friend shared a really deep experience she's going through, and I felt that so much in my heart. And then what if I was still feeling that, which is beautiful to have that compassion, right? But maybe it's time to just like recognize that that isn't mine to hold in this moment. So that's more of the evening check-in for me, is what did I pick up from the day? And it could be great things too. It's like, oh wow, I felt some more love in myself. I want to keep that one.
Yeah. That's so beautiful. Thank you for sharing that wisdom and just what you do. I love that. The other thing I was thinking about when you were talking earlier about like noticing different things, different layers, different aspects of client, and them having a different experience and not needing to go into the full depth of it, or letting people have their experience or their level of readiness to dive into certain things. I often find with craniosacral and people who may not have experience with it, receiving it or receiving similar forms of like energy work or body work, I feel like people don't know what to expect, or they don't know that every experience is part of it. Like, what am I supposed to report when I'm being asked? What am I noticing? I'm not noticing anything. Nothing's happening for me. Like, there are so many layers that maybe we are a little more in tune with because we've been practicing for a long time. Like, I can be aware of my mental continuum. I can be aware of my emotions. I could be aware of physical sensations. I could be aware of energetic things in my system. I could be aware of things that my senses are picking up. But I find that in a session, it all is serving the session. Not everybody knows that everything could be included as a piece of the healing process that's naturally occurring.
Totally. Yeah, I feel like people might need permission, or think that they need permission, because so many spaces it's frowned upon to go into those emotional aspects, or share in certain ways. But then there's another piece where it's part, I think, of the practice is helping people to start to explore what they're noticing in these other layers. but yeah, in their own pace, and not that there is any certain pace too. Like, it's completely what is natural for each person. But it's true. I think that sometimes I find myself, oh, this is a session where I want to have that conversation. Like, if I'm first meeting someone, and say, I see you in your wholeness, and it's welcome here. Of course, we're working with the physical body, but we might notice things from these other layers, and so I'll name them as well, just so like they understand that that's also where I'm working from too, and not just about where they're noticing, but also where I am as well.
I was just thinking, if you had like moments in life that actually drew you to the deeper work, your inner landscape, and also I know you're very much in tune with plants and herbs and earth herself, and if that was just something you kind of grew up like that, or that's something that happened.
I feel that the longing was always there to have depth, and I didn't understand where to go to explore it, because I did feel so much emotional depth, I think, as a child. And so that was kind of my gateway, and I see now was this immense emotional depth that, thankfully I was around support that tried to understand, but I don't think could fully understand that depth. And so, at times it definitely became heavy and dark, and it was from that I started to explore. It sounds so simple, but we all know it isn't, is that self-love and that inner compassion. I'm sure many people thought I was compassionate or kind before, and not to say I wasn't, but I think that's where the authenticity probably came, and is still very much the work in progress of finding that for myself, because I think when those times of such, inner darkness can become challenging to accept myself, and at least that's where I was at, and that's where that cultivation of compassion and kindness was really birthed from. And what supported that is my relationship with the earth, and that definitely was not so much a part of my childhood. Except I did start a garden as a child in the mulch out front.
I love that.
It was there was still that longing there, that longing for that connection, and I knew it was there, So I'm grateful for that I knew that there was something there. And so it was definitely the plants that became allies for me, and continually do help support me move through different states and stages of darkness and light. And they really came in strong for me. I think it was 2017, and
that what?
That the plants came in for me.
So what do you mean when you say the plants came in?
It's like this whole other world opened up that's been here this whole time. It's like living this parallel world that I wasn't even noticing. And then once I noticed it, I realized how present it's always been. And that's the whole green world. Mm-hmm. Meaning just more than human, I think, is another way, or just beyond our human world. And the plants came in the form of an apothecary and a few herbalists in Burlington, Vermont, that opened my eyes to how I could physically work with herbs to support myself. I was in my last semester of college, and that's when I started to wake up to how herbs could actually really support the body And then from there it became, on the emotional and then eventually the spiritual aspects of self too.
Beautiful. For whatever reason, my mind wants to go back to something you mentioned earlier, because I'm curious about it, because that's been a journey of mine. When you mentioned that at the end of the day, you're doing a kind of a little check-in of where you are, where your energy, and there's things that you picked up that you don't need to continue carrying. How do you then discharge? Or I don't know if that's the right word, but I just feel like that's been a journey for me for the last few years as an empathetic person, for lack of better words. I know like a lot of people listening probably are very sensitive people, highly sensitive or empathetic or whatever, however everybody wants to define themselves. We pick up on a lot of other people's energies. Do you have any insight there?
Yes, even though it's an end of the day practice, I've been learning how important it really is to practice throughout the day, because, or at least just bring awareness to like, oh, I noticed that once I start connecting with this person or enter this room, like how I shift, just to make a note. And so that at the end of the day can kind of like reflect back, because there's so much that happens in a day that it might be not appropriate, or might not appropriate in the sense just might not have the time and space to move through what we're experiencing in that hypersensitivity.
Right. Also, my experience sometimes is that it's a lot at once, and it is overwhelming, and it's like takes me by surprise. It's not like, oh, this one person said this one thing earlier. It's like I could get really overwhelmed at the airport because there's so many people moving very fast, or I could walk into the theater I play a show, and there are thousands of people in the audience, and all of a sudden I just like my whole system gets overwhelmed. A lot is going on. I don't release it in time, or I don't walk into situations protected, which is probably something I should do, like put a invisible layer of support, invisible boundary, or something. But I don't know, sometimes it's just like a lot.
Yeah, and sometimes those visualizations, I know, like, want them to work, but I do find it challenging to authentically connect with some practices like that. I'd say the biggest one for me that's supported is like when I leave my home in the morning, to, as much as I can, leave my home from a place of wholeness. And what I mean by that is like not feeling super graspy and needy and like needing something from the world. And that, of course, I have needs, and of course, like, I need things from all of my relations, but checking in to see as much as I can, I feel like full in myself. And I think that is like probably the best protection. Of course, that's not leaving in a state of perfection, but it is just being like taking up my own space, I think, is the best protection. Yeah, but then it really looks different at the end of the day. I know that showering is like a big thing. Like, it's a very physical process for me, or just standing outside in the fresh air. Even for a minute, I have a dog, so just to bring her outside. But in a mindful way, just say, like, without trying to do anything, just standing there and feeling the air and feeling the earth and connecting in that way. I also work with a lot of plants too, for smudging or for teas. And another really simple practice is really just like shavasana, just laying down and feeling that support, or like legs up the wall. Or
I love laying down as a way of reset. But yeah, I love all these things that you're mentioning.
Yeah, it's such a topic that I want to continue to find greater authenticity in, and greater like connection to how to, yeah.
But I love what you were saying about leaving your house or starting your day, going out to the world, not necessarily your house or wherever you are, going out to the world, not needing something from it. I really love that orientation. It's like, what am I bringing with me? What energy am I bringing with me where I go? I just love the thoughtfulness of this. I remember you one time telling me that you approached a forest and you stopped to ask permission to enter the forest. What's that about for people who might not get that?
Sometimes it is permission, and sometimes it's a simple greeting to introduce myself. There's a pure playfulness factor to it, like a child. That's pure, just pure play. But there's also a practice of, trying to see these relations that are, again, more than human or the green world, and greeting them and
Just
recognizing.
Recognition is what I hear.
Recognition. And so every time I take my dog on a walk, like in the forest, so like away from my immediate surroundings of home, I will say both of our names and introduce ourselves, and I'll say thank you or greetings to the forest and to the protectors of the forest. And so it's bringing an animation to this life. I mean, this life that's already animated, and recognizing it, even though it looks different than how us animated humans are. And it just really directly supports me in my connection, because then I'm walking in relationship. And usually when I'm taking a forest walk, I always want to get out of my mind, or at least give my mind some spaciousness. If I want to think through something, I want to feel like I'm exploring spaciousness, and being in relationship helps with that, because then I'm not just Nicole in my own little world. It helps me to feel connected.
Something bigger. Yeah. So coming back to just recent work that you're doing, I'm curious about womb work or anything that you've been doing lately that you're really passionate about, that seems to really resonate with people or offer real transformational moments for folks. Any workshops that you are particularly excited about or anything?
I've been really enjoying working with the womb, and the womb being the physical uterus, but also the womb in more of the consciousness aspect, or the energetic space of this womb that we can connect to anyone of any gender or any body.
Because you do massage of the area?
Yes. And so that's where I've been really enjoying in my daily life, of how I'm experiencing in other people, is supporting, especially around fertility, whether they're looking to conceive a child, or I like to see it as conceiving their own like creative spirit as well, because a lot of people that come in for, I call it it's abdominal massage, because it works more than just over the uterus. But that's a way that supports people in gaining connection to the whole sacral region of their body, which is really that space of creation for all of us. And it's a whole cosmos of experience that I'm, journeying in different ways with, and feel really honored when people share their stories with me. So I get to hear all different stories, from people's birth stories to their stories around trying to conceive, or their stories around miscarriage, or their stories around where their maternal line has been and is going. I'll work with women in their menopausal years, and their relationship to their body, experiencing that through their relationship to their abdomen, and specifically their uterus and their ovaries and their bladder. It's like through these organs and through this physical sense that all of these stories emerge, and I feel really privileged because I think so many of us don't get to hear these stories. I mean, of course, some people don't have an interest, but for me, it's like these missing pieces that I get to hear people's stories and their family stories as well, or their friends, because people also carry other people's stories and want to share them. And why I'm talking about stories with it is because so much in this area of the body, both with the physical uterus, but all of our sexual organs and our experience with our sexuality is not spoken about, or if it is, it's in certain ways and not in always a container that is just open to listening. So yeah, that's a huge love of mine right now, both within my work but also with friends and friends in their journey.
That's beautiful. Okay, I guess the question I love asking people, and I also love asking myself, we go through our path, on the healing path, exploring various modalities, various practices, doing all this work, evolving really on many levels and aspects of our life. And then if you had to look back and tell your younger self something, is there something that would spare you a lot of pain? I don't know.
I love this question. And I love that you ask it to yourself too. I'm just going to sit with it just for a moment.
Yeah, take your time.
Yeah, I would tell my younger self that it was really beautiful and healthy to have such deep and wide and far out questions and longings, and that one day I'd find places to explore those questions. And so it was okay to not have that space. It's okay to not have that space in that moment. And as much as I can practice trusting the journey. It's a phrase that is so easy to say, but to continually to remember that seeking spirit and that longing spirit is perhaps will always be present, but I'll always receive more support in how to explore that in a healthy way. And so, yeah, I would tell my younger self to that it's okay to not get ahead of myself. It's okay to be young and to be exactly where I am.
I love that. And then, are there any books you're really into, or any people who are really inspiring you these days, or anything like that?
Yeah, this is such a specific book, and the people that would be interested in this are also specific, maybe. I've heard it's actually a very popular book, but it's called Spirit Babies. And the author, I believe his name is Walter. He's a clairvoyant medium. And I'm sorry, I'll have to look up his full name, but he connects either parents or people that want to become parents to their baby in the spirit realm. And It is an extremely fascinating subject of interest of mine that has been around for many years now. And I'm not speaking about me directly at all, but more about this idea of connecting. People talk about connecting to loved ones that have passed, but this is kind of the other side of it. It's like our ancestors that have yet to come. And it also brings a lot of solace, is that the word, to topics such as adoption or miscarriage or infertility challenges. And for me, it brought a lot of really information, especially for the work that I do with folks that are looking to conceive. Not that I directly speak on things in the book, but at least for me in my own consciousness, it feels supportive, and it's a very uplifting perspective to hear that these are very wise beings that know exactly when they want to come down onto the earth, and they have so much that they're bringing with them around what needs to be in place for them to come here. And yeah, I loved hearing about people's stories with this medium, because what he did was really help them to connect to the baby so that they can also have that relationship. So I know it's a very specific thing, but it's a topic that I would love to delve deeper into and develop that ability, to hold space for people that are connecting to the spirit of the child that they'd like to bring in, or and all the realms that come with that.
Wow. Yeah, I find this fascinating. It's funny how we think that babies come to the world and we're going to teach them. Very few people are like, what are you here to teach me? What are you here for at all? And how can I support you? I mean, obviously people support your babies. But that notion of them being here for a purpose in our lives, a purpose in their lives, a purpose on this planet, So it's just find that fascinating, beautiful thing to think about. This is so cool. I should get to that book at some point.
It's a very easy read. And I also feel, at least for me, it definitely is, some inner child healing too, around all of our purpose and all of our wisdom, whether we remember or not, of where we, that point of where we were and now we're here on Earth, and that connection. Yeah.
And here we are.
2024.
Yeah. Anything else that you would like to say or leave the listener with? Anything else that feels alive? Or also let people know if they want to find you, where to find you.
Yeah, I feel like I'd like to leave everybody with gratitude that you've listened, and that I hope there was a little sprinkle or more of inspiration around how it is that you're called to tend your own inner light. I always see each of us as we each have that flame inside that we're kindling, and yeah, I hope that you continue to explore that sacred fire within you and continue to feed it with whatever is really true to you. And yeah, maybe this is an invitation to open to a modality of body work that is calling to you, or maybe a specific plant. The plant that I've been working with recently more in depthly is mugwort, and so I am starting a mugwort immersion, which is a mugwort dieta, a diet. Yeah, with a virtual journey with people, and so it's going to be over the end of October through the beginning of November, to help to connect us in this time, at least in the Northern Hemisphere, where we speak on the veils thinning, and we can have more communication with anything that wants to be of support for us in the spirit world. But also, mugwort is a plant that supports menstrual health. That's a big one, as well as the nervous system. Relaxation is such an overused word, but truly to relax the muscles in the body. And so there's so many physical benefits of the plant as well. And so that's something I'm really looking forward to, and people can find that information on my website, which is just my name, NicoleShaFi.com. And yeah, on Instagram, I love to post about plants and things I have going on there, and down the pipeline, more virtual things as well. And sometimes some aspects around my practice, my in-person practice too.
Lovely. So I'll let people know your Instagram handle and all of these things in the show notes so that they can click and find you if they feel called to. And just really appreciate you. Yeah, I just really appreciate you coming and talking. I feel like there's so many things that we can dive deeper, possibly in the future. Like you just threw in that mugwort last minute. And I'm like, oh, there's more to talk about.
I absolutely love talking. Yeah, I love talking with you, Noga. I feel like you have that curious spirit that is with such intention. And thank you for welcoming me into your curiosities, because they also really help to clarify where my longings are. And you have such a beautiful way of weaving the intellect with the wisdom that's deep in the body and the soul.
Oh, thank you. That's a nice reflection to receive. Thank you so much for coming today.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks so much for tuning in. If this episode resonated, send it to a friend, share it in your stories, or take a moment to rate the podcast and subscribe. It genuinely helps this little baby podcast grow organically and reach to the people that it needs to reach. I really appreciate every comment and every review. And as always, if you want to go deeper, my course, retreat, and free resources are all linked below. This is your healing era. Take care, and I'll see you next time.